I watched for the first time this week Tremors.
You watched Tremors for the first time?
I never watched Tremors.
That shit good.
Yeah, the Kevin Bacon vehicle.
I watched that, God, close to when it came out. I barely remember any of it at this point.
So 1990 is what I found out, which is interesting because it really is. It feels like the cusp of 90s movie and 80s movie.
Yeah.
You know, practical effects, rubber graboids blowing up and juicing everywhere. But like also just like Kevin Bacon is kind of everywhere, but there's just been a whole lot of Kevin Bacon I haven't really seen. So yeah, no, it was one of these things that threw it on and went back to it. Such a simple thing that works because of like it's a closed system. They're out in fucking buttfuck nowhere, like perfection, Nevada, you know, and
hole nowhere.
Yeah, and it's just fun to go back to this old movie where like every punchline is corny as fuck and they're goofy. Like you're watching essentially what what's his name? Norman Reedus vibes is exuding off of Kevin Bacon's character, and
the pre-Reedus.
Yes, and Fred Ward exuding what becomes John Barenthal.
Yeah,
actually, so two Walking Dead isms happening beforehand, mind you. That's weird. He even kind of looks like him too. Anyway, and then hey, guess what? These effects still hold up.
Yep.
Shit's rubber.
Is Tremors 1 the one where they fucking come through the basement wall and there's the wall of guns?
Yeah.
Oh man, that fucking scene is so good.
Yeah. It's dude, like, okay. I don't know if there's a TV tropes page for it, but there needs to be something for the preppers were right.
Yeah.
Right? Any time you can underline that in the script, the preppers were right.
It's almost like scary movie-ish of like absurd like prepper like what are we gonna do against the killer? We have a machine gun, but like actually like
so they introduced them as like they're like they're kind of nuts, they're out there on their they got their bunker and they love their guns and they're like we sure do, and they're like we're gonna get some guns, you guys probably need some, everyone okay? And they're holding them with them the whole time. And then as you go back to their thing, and they're just unloading on the graboid that comes through the wall, and then like tossing, and it's basically the Clone Wars fucking scene with the soldier just bang, and like as they're just empty, they're looking back at the wall and cleaning it off, and that's not good enough. Go get the fucking elephant gun.
Go get it.
And this giant stupid elephant gun with fist-sized bullets just that was great. And
it would have been like super easy to have all that be totally ineffective.
Mm-hmm.
And be like, wow, this monster's so scary. I can't. Nah, fuck it.
America.
You have a big enough gun? Yeah, it'll kill it.
Yeah, patriotism is the real fucking gun. Anyway, whatever.
Patriotism is the real gun.
Real gun. Yes,
that's the phrase.
Yes. There's a thing that is particular to the open mouth slime and drool. It is 80s slime.
Oh yeah.
There's a consistency and like thickness that you don't get in certainly not in CG slime, but even 90s slime, it doesn't quite. There's an 80s slime.
Oh well,
thing.
that's a really specific effects trick where shitty rubber looks like flesh if it's wet.
Okay, yeah. It's not Nickelodeon slime, right?
Yeah.
It's the kind that like can get stretched thin and create like a transparent sheet of itself with like a little bit of texture on it,
like the alien.
Yes.
Like the alien would look so much worse if it wasn't wet and dripping.
Alien goop, absolute xenogoop, Brundle goop. Right? Brundle goop is same kind as well, and yeah, that particular type of whatever that recipe is that they're mixing up, you recognize it right away.
Stan Winston shit.
Mm-hmm. That in full effect, that works. I guess there's 7 of these fucking things. So
there's like a I don't remember what, but there's like a really hard line in the sand of these are the ones to watch, and then these are the ones where they could convince a couple of the actors to come back.
Yeah.
Just enough.
The last one was like 2019 or some shit, so it's still doing it. There was also a canceled TV show that never happened, even though Kevin Bacon agreed to do it.
That seems like a really narrow
but
concept for a television show.
But like with the first one, it's kind of like, yeah, who knows what the fucking thing, what they are or where they come from or what's going on. Doesn't matter. They're here. And the rules on how they work are consistent enough that like our plotting and catching and traps are like going to have a little game of like, oh, they're thinking they're getting smarter.
Yeah.
But there's some times where it's like, okay, so can they hear, sometimes they hear footsteps. Sometimes footsteps are fine. It's just going into the ground and drilling that's too loud. And then sometimes it's like your voice carrying. Mm-hmm. So there's different levels of sensitivity initially that are like, I'm not sure how the
graboid know we were here, because the fucking writer wrote it in the script that the graboid attacks us in this scene.
Yeah, and then, and other times it's like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're on the roof, it's coming through the floor and it knows, and it's pulling the whole house down and it knows you're up there. But it's still, that was like a fun dumb bit. The setting up all the things as well, where you've got like the bully kid that just has he just has shitty bully face, and he's gonna be like, of course every activity that everyone is doing is drilling into the ground with a jackhammer, bouncing a basketball, of course, and then the little girl is on a pogo stick with headphones on, can't hear anyone, bouncing on the ground, like everyone's doing the loudest possible activity at all times. There's a fridge that keeps acting up that's over there. I'm gonna take a car battery and dig it into the ground.
Why not?
How loud can we get at all times? And then I guess just in terms of their capabilities, it's like, well, I mean, at first it's like pulling a dude into the ground, and then it's like, oh, we can pull a car.
Yeah, fuck it.
And when it gets down to it, like, the preppers once again not only were right, but they saved the day by creating pipe bombs at home. That was great. It was very fun. 1 and 2 is what I see people saying.
I've been seeing that in the chat the whole time you've been talking about it.
That is what my friend told me as well. I guess the thing here is just like, how many of these went straight to DVD or to VHS, right?
There's like 5 Starship Troopers movies.
Oh yeah. and James Vanderbeek thought he was too good for the second one, but
he was probably right,
but not for the third one.
Oh, he was right the first time.
Yeah. And I heard that like that's it. They get back, like, each time they get back at least 1 or 2 people. Reba McEntire is there for the first movie. Just, I don't know why, but country singers here.
Okay.
And Casper Van Diem, Casper Van Diem. Yes. It's just like, I don't know where the cutoff point is, but I'm assuming 1 and 2 were in theaters, and perhaps after that they decided straight to Walmart. Anyways, it holds up. It's a good one that holds up.
I should watch that again. I can remember the fucking wall scene and Kevin Bacon and graboids, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, and again, after hearing about it, we're just like, yeah, this is essentially dune worms in the West or in America, and they're smaller and shit's wild.
There's like no explanation at all, right?
Nope.
It's just like, what the fuck is that?
Zero. No idea what they are, where they came from, what's going on, but they're there. They found them. They're killing. And the population of the town they're doing this in is like 14 people.
Oh, great.
So there's just nothing around or whatever. Yeah. And they are like, the tone of the movie is also just like, again, it's pretty much a comedy the entire way through.
Yeah.
And then occasionally like someone gets like ripped and pulled in. But it's also interesting to watch it how it's like, it was PG-13 and like you can count like the swears that they get away with, and then sometimes they have to drop it back to like, you know, mother huckers, or, you know, like no one gets ripped apart or anything. They just kind of get bitten and pulled into the ground. You know? So yeah, it is. It feels like
Aliens is like you look back on it now, it's like it's shockingly non-violent. Like people get pulled off screen.
Yeah, no. Or just, yeah, or even the concept of chest busting, you know, or getting gooped onto the wall. Like here, they found a corpse or two, and the person was kind of blue, you know, or whatever. But like again, nothing really visceral or that violent or so. The most gory shit was when the thing itself explodes into slime.
But that's a monster.
And it's monster, exactly, and it's raining Chef Boyardee on everybody. It's Chef Boyardee orange in specific too.
Ugh.
Good shit.